Hey guys, today I want to talk a little bit about the heat in the Philippines. I'm walking around in it right now, so I can give you a brief synopsis here about what the heat is like for you guys that haven't been here. And some of you guys that have been here, but were here, maybe you were in Baguio or something like that, and you didn't get to experience too much of the heat. Most of the country here is always in the 80s and 90s. During the rainy season, the humidity is like disgusting. It's like 100% humidity during the rainy season. That's a good amount of the year in some parts of the country. And here where I am, in Cavite province, in Luzon and Tracy Martirez, at night it cools down, but the stickiness is horrible. I like the dry season. The stickiness kind of goes away, but it's still hot, okay? But it's a little bit more bearable because of the dryness. Right now, my clothes are just soaking wet, mostly from walking, but they're soaking wet. I use like baby powder, things like that to keep cool. Helps a little bit for 15, 20 minutes sometimes. Sometimes a little bit longer, it depends. Depends what vehicle you're in or whatever. If you're on an air-conditioned bus, usually you're fine. Still a little muggy inside those buses because the air conditioners don't work that great in there, but it is a little bit cooler than outside. Probably by about 10 degrees maybe, 8 degrees. So it is a little bit better. It's just not as muggy. But the temperature still high sometimes in some buses. It depends. You know, most of the buses, you sit in a good seat, you get the AC blowing on you. It's pretty good. I sit in the front seat of most of the jeepneys I travel in. Because where I grab the jeepney, I'm usually the first one on. Because I'm on the bypass road just as they're turning around coming back. So I'm usually the first one on. I'm usually the first one off, you know, as soon as they get to the destination to turn around again. Because I go from here, near my house, all the way to SM Dasma. You know, I go to the mall there, walk around, whatever. Now the malls lately, just a FYI, because of the COVID and because of less people, they've played with the AC. And they've made it so that it's a bit hotter there. And I've noticed that because it used to be a lot cooler. And it used to be almost cold inside the malls, whereas now it's kind of warm. It's not hot, but it's kind of warm. It's a little bit more humid in there. It's a little bit different. Before, I used to love walking through the malls and staying cool. And now, I kind of enjoy it. Not as much because the coolness has gone away. In the restaurants that you sit in, you still sit there and you kind of sweat because they've shut off their ACs because they're not getting the same amount of customers that they should be getting. And that's part of all this stuff that's going on in the world. And I'm hoping that when we go back to normal, and I use that word loosely, that they do reopen this stuff. Reopen the ACs and keep us cool and give us peace and relaxation and normalcy again. Hopefully it happens. I'm not sure it will, you know. But I do notice most of the restaurants, like I said, AC, that's passé now in most places, unless it's a busy place. I will say this. When I was up at Panda Express the other day, one thing I did notice, the AC was on and it was working. And I was kind of happy about that. But I did notice when I was in the Conrad building and I was eating in there that the AC wasn't that great at Red Lobster. The AC was kind of warm. So you tell they adjusted it. And you guys know when you're back in the US, you walk into a restaurant or something and it's usually cool in there, in most places, unless it's not a well-traveled restaurant. AC definitely attracts people to a restaurant. At least it does for me as an expat. Most Filipinos don't care whether the place has AC or not. I'll just say that. They just don't care, you know? But I care. That's my number one requirement, is nice AC, you know? And that's one reason why I like walking down here, because this place here is a little bit cooler. If I walk up just to the top of the hill here, it's hot. If I walk down here, it's not breezy down here, but it's just kind of cooler because it's it's damper down here, and I think it's the evaporative cooling that's taking place. It's cooling it off a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit sticky down here, but it's decent. It's good, you know. But for a lot of older people coming over here, the heat might not be a good thing for you guys. Just be careful. And for anybody that has skin problems, let me just tell you this, okay? I'm a person that usually never has skin problems. Never had skin problems all my life. When I come over here, because of the sweat, I notice that my skin gets like prickly heat, you know, like little bumps and stuff like that. I get a lot more skin issues. I wash constantly during the day. I take 2 or 3 showers a day sometimes, just to kind of wash that sweat off, put new powder on, and stay fresh as I can. And when you guys are over here, and I mentioned this before, be sure to look into baby powder, guys. There's different baby powders out there, and one or two of them are actually for cooling, to keep you cool. And there's one for prickly heat. Now, when I say baby powder, I use that word very loosely. It's actually for adults too. And us adults over here as expats, a lot of the expats over here, I tell them about it, and they say, oh, I already use that. You know, and it should be used because it keeps you dry for at least a little bit. You know, and if you get one of those powder things that the girls use that powder their nose or whatever, you know, it's like a big thing about this big, you know, and you use it to powder your skin, okay? And you can rub it on your skin, rub the baby powder all over you, you know, and, you know, you rub it in and it just keeps you dry for at least a little bit. And it has some medication in there. Some of it has medication that'll keep you like semi-dry. And that's good in the long term, because trust me, if your skin is wet, my doctor told me, and I've mentioned this before in the past, my doctor told me to keep your skin as dry as you can. And it's good to carry like a face cloth or a towel around your neck or something like that when you're out walking, so you can wipe your face or whatever. Even in the malls, man, because it's hot over here, and even in the malls sometimes I catch myself sweating because they're just shutting off the ACs because they've had problems collecting rents or whatever. So people aren't able to pay their rents. They're closing down some of the stores. I've seen a few stores close down, and they're hurting. The people are hurting. A lot of the malls are hurting. So when they hurt, guess what? You're going to hurt a little bit too, because they're going to change the environmental controls there, meaning AC, and they're going to turn it down, you know? Just FYI. Like a hornet or something around here. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, guys, I just want to touch a little bit on that. You know, you definitely need to have AC over here. At the least, you need a really, really good fan. And for you people that don't want to buy AC over here, or think that you can live without AC, it's possible, but you'd need a good blower or something like that. And they do sell blowers like to dry the floor or whatever. You can buy them at like Ace Hardware or what have you. And you can go into Ace Hardware, you can get one of those. But I'm not sure what they use for power, amperage, or any of that stuff, how many watts they take up or whatever. You may want to check into that, but a good blower would definitely keep you cool at night. And it would also, you could also use it as a white noise machine, which is excellent because you won't hear roosters crowing or anything like that. And if you guys, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It's like a turbo blower, and then it has like a nozzle, and you can face it right at your bed, and you can turn it on different levels, like 3 different speeds or 5 different speeds. Some of them you can, but they use them for like drying floors and stuff like that. And they're really, really good, I might add. They're really, really good if you want to stay cool, you know. And like I said, for the white noise. So you get the best of both worlds. And also you can use it this way. If you have AC, you can turn the AC up higher and use that blowing on you, and then you get the best of both worlds. So you're saving a little bit of electricity because you're not using as much AC, but you use a little bit of fan. The fan doesn't take as much electricity as the AC. So your AC might be shutting off during the night, and then at least you'll have that blowing on you, okay? And it's just, and for me, if I just had that, I think I'd be fine over here, because most nights, it's usually in the 70s. It's the humidity that kills you. But anyway, guys, God bless. Take care.